Donald Trump is an extremely divisive person, and for good reason. He's spouted a lot of divisive rhetoric over the course of his campaign. And I mean a lot. Like, a lot.
Grab him by the pussy.
But no matter who you regard Donald Trump as personally, you have to admit that his campaign generated some really good memes. 2016 was a great year for memes, from Nazi frogs to the basket of deplorables. It was a very dank year, I must say. But in all honesty, what Donald Trump and his campaign were able to achieve was the articulation of a concrete narrative consisting of one thing: change. Which, of course, makes sense, considering his campaign was running against a candidate whose policies consisted entirely of a continuation of the previous administration, which in its heyday also preached change. However, the type of change that Barack Obama and Donald Trump preach is actually quite different, down to a very fundamental difference of what change means to the both of them. When looking at both of their inaugural speeches, you see a lot of patriotism across the board. There's a lot of references to America and to its people, and being in America, that's to be expected. However, each uses patriotism and love of country to weave a web that tells of two very different paths that each would like the country to take. Obama, in his speeches, is extremely keen on illusion. He likes to make a lot of references to popular Americana. He quotes from the Declaration of Independence and makes references to the Civil Rights Movement in each of his inaugural addresses. He's very focused on the past in these addresses, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. Doing so allows him to create an overarching tone of continuity, that from the very inception of the state of America, it has always been great, and hasn't faltered in such exceptionalism, or as he puts it,
through it all, we have never relinquished our skepticism of central authority, nor have we succumbed to the fiction that all society's ills can be cured through government alone.
And while this really isn't true, there have been plenty of socialist and labor movements throughout the history of the country. It helps establish Obama's narrative of continuity. For instance, his use of constitutional reference focuses the address on the continuity of idea, and in referencing to things like the Civil Rights Movement, he creates the notion that these are timeless American values.
Our founding fathers, faced with perils that we can scarcely imagine, drafted a charter to assure the rule of law and the rights of man. A charter expanded by the blood of generations. Those ideals still light the world, and we will not give them up for expedience sake.
That's a true love of country and for what it stands for, which Obama then uses to urge for reform and improvement, continually working to make better that which once was. Now here's the same idea, but through the lens of Donald Trump.
We will get our people off of welfare and back to work, rebuilding our country with American hands and American labor.
There's an emphasis on American hands and American labor, assuming that such faith in the American working class has been lost. Hence, make America great again. This is the entirety of Donald Trump's narrative of change. Whereas Obama presented change in the context of an ever-improving, uniquely American set of values, Trump's pressing for change in a manner that assumes that such values are no longer extant in American society. This is what MAGA means, and it's strewn throughout his address. A dreary and rather depressing view of the 21st century. Jobs left, factories closed, that infrastructure of the country has fallen into disrepair and decay, and quite explicitly, that confidence in the country is gone. Whereas Obama aims to represent a thriving and healthy ideal of America the righteous, America the great preserver, and America the beautiful, Donald Trump evokes America the broken, America the corrupt, and its American carnage. And what makes Trump so uniquely populist is his solution to the problem: American hands and American labor. To empower the working class to reinvigorate what he believes to be a stagnant American society by focusing on the power of the individual. The regard that Trump has for the American in his inaugural is the second great differentiator between him and his predecessor. While both, and almost all presidents for that matter, use plural language, we and our, to establish common ground between them and their audience, Trump takes this common ground further than Obama did. Obama was always very sure to work the ideal of the people as a united group into his address, and even in his 2009 address alludes to the corruption of the Capitol, but of course is sure to reaffirm the supremacy of the values of the state. Obama also chastises the nation for its collective failure to bring about necessary change. He repeats this mantra in his 2013 inaugural when he notes that
our journey is not complete until our wives, our mothers and daughters can earn a living equal to their efforts. Our journey is not complete until our gay brothers and sisters are treated like anyone else under the law. Our journey is not complete until no citizen is forced to wait for hours to exercise the right to vote. Our journey is not complete until we find a better way to welcome the striving, hopeful immigrants who still see America as a land of opportunity.
The idea is created that there's always room for improvement, not just politically, but socially too. Enter the Trump inaugural, and a completely contradictory narrative is presented, one of American infallibility.
What truly matters is not which party controls our government, but whether our government is controlled by the people. January 20th, 2017 will be remembered as the day the people became the rulers of this nation again.
Or, in other words, the state is the problem and the people are the solution. Where Obama and the political establishment offered faith in the continuity of a generally good American state, Trump offers the failure of such a state, of its loss of values, and of the will of the American people to fix it. Where Obama offered the perpetual goodness of American value, Trump poses the transcendent goodness of the American person. Or, put simply, Donald Trump is calling for populist change. The only question now is whether a man who doesn't usually practice what he preaches can put his words to good use.